Hello, and welcome to Addicted Like Us, a podcast discussing all things written by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I'm your host, Haley, and today I have Zoe, aka Dear Reader Zoe, with me to talk about Long Way Down, Book 9 in the Addicted series. Before we go any further, this is part 4 of the Long Way Down discussion, so make sure you listen to part 1, 2, and 3 before diving in because you will be very confused with the timeline. A quick recap, I'm Haley, a longtime reader and lover of Krista and Becca's work. I'm also a part-time illustrator, and I had the privilege of working on the special editions of the Like Us series. Now I just love to spend my time talking about all my favorite books, aka anything written by Krista and Becca. So the Addicted Like Us podcast was created so I could sit down with friends and talk about all our thoughts. So let me reintroduce you to Zoe.
Hi, I'm Zoe, also a longtime lover of all of Krista and Becca's works, and that's also how Haley and I met. So this is super extra special because we bonded over the Addicted series and then the Like Us series, and that's really seen us through like the start of our friendship and all of that, and super special to be here because I remember when you first told me about the idea you had for this, I couldn't wait to talk to you about this.
I knew that I'd be saving one of the Razy books for you, friend. Okay, so quick recap of what we've talked about so far. Reich and Daisy are engaged. Reich has found out that he has another sibling, Willow, who we've all known as Lo's half-sister, is now Lo's full sister and Reich's half-sister. So she is the daughter of Jonathan. Reich and Daisy are obviously trying to have a baby. They are really determined to conceive naturally before they explore any other options that might be available to them. And that's really difficult because Daisy's had some cysts on her ovaries. She's had to have surgery. It's just going to be a difficult road for them. So they spent Christmas in Tahoe, and we learned that Rose is expecting a baby, and we're feeling weird feelings about it. We are happy for the Cobalts and expanding their family, but we are also sad for Daisy because that's not Daisy who's pregnant. And we also learned at the end of like the whole trip that Reich has decided to officially change his name. He's no longer going by Jonathan Reich, or like his legal name is no longer Jonathan Reich Meadows. It is now just Reich Meadows, which means that the trust fund stipulation of him keeping Jonathan as his name, he didn't follow through with that. So now he no longer has access to his trust fund and needs to financially rely on his rock climbing.
Which has kind of been bit of ongoing like tension and strife for him and Lo this entire book. And the other thing I was going to say is that we just recently saw Daisy take her sisters and Willow, I mean I count Willow as her sister, right to, the plot of land that she's bought, and she shared with them the project she's been working on, Camp Calloway. So that was also really, yeah, it was such a lovely moment of her sharing that with them and being so excited.
Yes.
So we've had ups and downs.
Yes.
Over the book so far.
And we're only 27 chapters in. We are not even halfway. All right, no. So we're picking up with chapter 27. They have just returned from Tahoe. Literally, I think 6 hours ago, they have returned from Tahoe. And Reich and Daisy are sweaty in the sheets. And Daisy's not in the mood. And Reich can clearly tell Daisy is not in the mood. But one of the things that was also discussed that was touched on in, I think, the last part was that Daisy wanted to have sex every day because she really, really does not want to miss an opportunity for them to conceive naturally. And the way to do that is just law of averages say that it will happen if you do it more often. And she's saying that they had skipped yesterday. They didn't have sex the day before. So she's like, I really, really want to do this. But Reich is like, he says, I can't make her sit. I'm confident and fucking experienced in foreplay and heightening a girl's arousal, but I can't make one who's chemically and psychologically not in the mood to suddenly feel pleasure. So that's what's happening right now. And he talks about his phrase that he says to her in Italian, which is, your pleasure is my pleasure. Because she's like, just do it, even if I'm not feeling it. And Reich's like, well, the whole thing is, your pleasure is my pleasure. And if you're not feeling it, then I'm not enjoying myself either.
Exactly. And even beyond like a physical level, he wouldn't enjoy it emotionally. He doesn't want to do
Yeah.
it mentally.
Yeah, no. He's always been very focused on how Daisy's feeling during sex because men have not treated her well and he never wants to be like them. But it's so sad. She's like, do you think Rose would be pregnant already if our positions were reversed?
You know, I think she can't help but compare herself as well. And it's so
Yes.
sad.
I mean, it's hard too because, like, they are sisters. So, in theory, like, sometimes you'd think, at least biologically, your paths could align a little bit. And they're very clearly diverging in different directions. Like, this is Rose's second kid,
Yeah.
and the first one was not planned. Like, Connor sperm defeated Rose's birth control kind of thing. Meanwhile, Reich and Daisy are like out here actively trying, and it's not
Yeah.
happening. So it's like it's really hard for. I can see it being really hard for her.
Yeah. I also wonder if it's like because thinking back to the beginning of the Addicted series, definitely Rose and Lily compared to Daisy are kind of on separate paths. And then they kind of finally come back together. And
Mm-hmm.
now I feel like to Daisy, it must feel like they're kind of splitting again when her sisters both have babies. And it's not just that she doesn't, it's that she wants it so badly and she doesn't.
Daisy,
You know,
it's
we started on a
okay.
sad chapter.
We did. We were really sad chapter. I was skimming through and I saw the end to this chapter. I'm like, oh my god, this hurts.
Yeah.
But there's also this little bit where she's like, she asks the question, would Rose be pregnant at this point? And he's like, fuck no. Days, we're giving it everything we have. We're fucking trying, and it's not your fault if it takes longer. There wasn't something you missed or something you forgot to fucking do. It wasn't our time, okay? And she's like, I don't want to fight with you because were we fighting? And it's that whole thing of like, the communication between these two, it's like they kind of butt heads, but the fight ends like right then.
Yeah, they always discuss it and never like walk away from anything.
Yeah, she goes, I think there was a fight in there.
They're
No,
cute.
they
But
are
yeah,
so
then
cute. Yeah.
you know, I think Reich sees Daisy's point, and even though he doesn't want to, he sees how much it matters to her. So they do. I'm like trying to make sure they do have sex.
Yeah, he agrees that he's gonna have sex, and it's this whole thing of like, don't even pretend that you're enjoying this. And she's like, you want me to just sit there like and frown at you? He goes, if that's what you're fucking feeling, then yeah, frown at me
Yeah,
while this is happening.
I love him.
He is like gold standard. So he has to like, yeah, he comes inside of her, and Daisy never climaxes because it's just it's not that time for her. She's not feeling it.
I do love that they're like when she mumbles "my wolf" and
Mhm.
he doesn't say it but back. He always refers to her as his son, and
Yes.
I love that so much. It's like she's my fucking son, and even though she's set tonight, she means nothing less to me. I love her just as fucking madly. It's so cute.
And then he says, I'm fucking glad that's over. I'm not happy that I'll eventually have to do it again. But hopefully there'll be a time when we're holding a kid. When we look back in remembrance and think we did everything we fucking could to have this. Yeah.
I feel like as well because this book really dives way deeper into their emotional state and how much they want the kid compared to like Lily and Lo finding out about Moffy and Rose and Connor finding out about Jane. Not, they were obviously really ecstatic and really happy to have a kid
It's that whole thing of
for some
like,
of them eventually, but they want it so badly, Reich and Daisy.
yeah, it's like no offense, Max Moff and Jane, but like you guys were kind of accidents, and Reich and Daisy are very clearly not trying to have an accident. They're being very purposeful about this. So like we're actually seeing that whole journey of not just like of like actively trying to get pregnant, not just accidentally getting pregnant. And the fact that it's such a hard journey for them makes it so sad,
I
so
know.
emotional. It makes it
Yeah.
really emotional to read through
Yeah. And
because
Krista
you
and Becca have
you
just
just
done
like
like the best job
yeah,
like depicting that and just
yes.
like the whole like emotional onslaught. Yeah. I think obviously not now, even though we got close, but when I read it and when I reread it, it's always like one of the things that makes me cry the most is just their like inner thoughts about this situation at this time.
Yeah. It's yeah. So the next chapter is New Year's Eve in New York City. They are at a charity event that Connor is hosting. All of them, all of the Calloway sisters. So Poppy's there,
Yeah.
not Willow. I believe Willow is babysitting. Don't quote me on that. But she runs into someone at this party that we really hate.
Yeah.
One of our, I mean, I don't want to call him a favorite. I would never call him a favorite, but he is one of the top villains. We'll give him that title. He is a top tier villain. God, fucking hate him. Yeah, I don't even call him top tier. Top tier is giving him too much credit. He is just vile. It's
Exactly.
Julian.
And genuinely, I think the first time I read this, I was like, I mean, this man left my brain, and like, to me, he died, and I was like, I wish he'd stay dead. We finally got rid of him, and now he's back. Yeah. No.
So that was something that we saw in Fuel the Fire, was that harkens back to Kiss the Sky, which was in Kiss the Sky when Daisy was dating Julian. They didn't have sex, but she did perform oral sex on him. Still illegal because she was a minor. And so during Kiss the Sky, that was when they were being filmed for the reality TV show. So that was on that was all filmed. And Scott had those tapes and was watching Daisy as a minor in these pornographic situations. So obviously he's in big fucking trouble. But now they're like examining the tapes and seeing who was with Daisy, and it's an adult with a minor. So it's getting Julian in hot water over this. And he wants,
as he should,
the fucking audacity of this man. He wants to talk with her so that he can convince her to go to her lawyers and get him out of this whole problem. Do we remember how you exited our lives? You like fucking punched a wall near her head and screamed at her and called her terrible fucking names. Yeah, let me do my best to help you out here, Julian. Buddy.
No, it's just the way he approaches her as well. Like, he grabs her by her arm. Yes. He's really trying to, like, I mean, I think it's in view because it says like that there's some flashes and Daisy's worried about making a scene. Yeah. But it does very much feel like he's like cornering her. She's by herself. Daisy is very strong, but she's not going to be able to physically overpower him. And because she doesn't want to make a scene, she's also not going to make a scene and, you know, involve other people or like have a very valid response where like I would fully be behind her, like screaming at him, go away.
Yes.
But it's just like, it's not something that she would do.
I don't want to be charged for statutory rape just because you gave me a blowjob. That's what he's worried about. What about how I was 17, a minor, and Scott Van Wright filmed me without my consent? Yeah, Julian, sit the fuck down.
He's so self-centered.
He's
It's also about like what you were previously saying.
Yeah.
And the audacity of him to say like, this could ruin my life. Well, it should then.
As it should. Don't do really gross things like having sex with a minor, and maybe you wouldn't have to worry about this, but...
Because how old was he? It wasn't like Daisy was 17 and he was 18. No. He was like 20.
I think he was 23? Yeah. 23 or 24. He was like the same age as Reich, Rose, and Connor. Which was a whole thing. It was like...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like... Yeah. So
she escapes him.
Yeah, she brushes him off and goes to her sisters, and she finds Lily first. And it's so cute that she like sees Lily talking with these people, grabs her hand and is like, excuse me, I have to steal her away. And she says, they look grateful to lose her. I'm grateful to have her. Yeah, those people didn't deserve to be in Lily Calloway's presence.
It'll always be the Calloway sisters.
Yes, Lily's like, I told them my New Year's resolution and they all stared at me like I was dumb. My New Year's resolution is to not have a New Year's resolution. I love her.
I also love that she's like, Lo would get it. Because he so would. I feel like any of them would get it. Maybe Reich would look at Lily a bit like, okay. But they would get it. And I'm always so happy for them that they have people that understand them. Like, they have their people.
Yeah, it's never work to try and like they can be who they are and they never have to put in the work to try and explain who they are to the others. It's just like, yeah,
They get
that's
it.
you. I accept you as you are.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of like cute
Yes.
Lily and Daisy stuff, and then Rose and Poppy come over.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also like they mention really fast that they like reminisce about the New Year's in Ricochet when Daisy was 15. Look how far they've come. Like I see it as like we're talking that they know each other really well now. And at that point, Lily really didn't know Daisy that well because they did that whole like game as they're walking towards the edge of the roof and Lily's like answering questions wrong. And now it's just like she'd never answer a question wrong about Daisy.
Yeah. Makes me so happy, like beyond everything else, that they've overcome the fact that they're so close to Daisy and Daisy's involved.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my baby.
Yes. So they do notice, yeah, Rose and Poppy come over, and Rose is immediately aware. Like, she comes over and tells Daisy, "We saw Julian, and they wanted to let you know. We wanted to let you know so you don't cross paths with him." They're like immediately in protective mode, which appreciate it, girls, but little late.
The bit about Connor is so funny because Rose is like, she's got her hands on her hips and she's like, Connor is dealing with him. And then, like, Connor is dealing with him. It sounds very ominous. And Lily's like, what does that mean? And Daisy, obviously, and it's always so fun. She always, even when it is very serious and like, it's always her lightening the mood, but she's like, do you know Connor Colbert is a hitman?
I
And
would not be
Lily's
surprised.
unsure if Daisy's joking because you could see it, couldn't you? You could really see it.
You not put it past him.
In another universe,
Yes, he would be a very, very dangerous hitman. 100%. And she Rose says Connor's just talking to him and hopefully threatening his genitals and his tongue until he leaves. Sounds like a hitman thing to do.
oh wait, I just found this line again. It was making me think of Luna. Where Lily notes, I thought for sure Connor Colbert was an alien, not a hitman.
He is a man. He can be an intergalactic hitman, Lily.
Yeah,
Think big.
that's so true. Luna would already know like what planet he's from and if his planet is all hitman or like what he does.
And then if my husband were an alien, yours was born in the underworld. And well, Lauren Hale is smoking hot, and Lily points at Rose and goes, "They're
It
so
makes me
cute."
so happy, like all of their like incredible little.
I love their sister combos. They're so cute. So then Rose asks about the panda bear search, which is the code when they're in public for Daisy getting pregnant. And she's like, "I'm not sure. I haven't had any bamboo in like 6 weeks, so I guess that's promising." And Lily's over here like, "What are all these code words?" But Rose does understand, like, Daisy's saying that she hasn't had a period for 6 weeks. And like, why haven't you gone and done a pregnancy test yet? That seems very promising, like Daisy said. And she's urging her to go take a pregnancy test. And like, full on, let's leave the party, go find a pregnancy test and get your answers like right fucking now. Daisy's like, "Can we leave Connor's charity event? Is this gonna hurt his feelings or something?"
No, I think even Rose doesn't want to be there. They're all like, let's just get out of this place.
Yeah, it's a Cobalt Inc. charity event, I think, and it's full of real stuffy people, as evidenced by the fact that like
Yeah.
Lily was talking to these people who don't understand her New Year's resolution. So like nobody really wants to be here. They're just here to support Connor, and
Yeah.
their own little group.
I think it's all like their parents' crowd and their parents' children and all
Yeah,
of that. Like,
those like prep school kind of acquaintances, or like they would have been prep school acquaintances. They're obviously now like work
yeah.
acquaintances, but not their crowd.
But it's nice. They escape.
Yes, they do.
They choose to go on a little adventure.
They do. And
And
meanwhile,
there's such a
Reich,
good quote just before.
yes,
It's like, together, all four of us, we're more invincible against the world's judgment. And it is
amen.
all four of them now.
Yeah.
It's so perfect.
Tack on Willow, make it 5, and you guys are unbeatable.
And then yeah, it does switch. So in chapter 29, we're back with Reich.
And it's Reich and Lo together They're trying to track down some food for this party. And they encounter like the rudest fucking waiter. They're like, is this all the food? And the guy's like, do you want champagne? To the two men who are so very clearly sober. Are you kidding me?
Yes. And he even says, you know, like he must know that Lo is a recovering alcoholic, and still he was willing to give him a drink. I just feel like generally, like everyone in the like Calloway world is a piece of shit. Like who's not one of them, but every single person around them, like they're all awful. All of Daisy's friends who they knew at university, business partner, the paparazzi, their parents.
Like, I don't understand what inspires this cruelty because I don't see any actions that would warrant it, like from our favorite characters. They're not, yeah, they don't deserve it. But Lo's like, pardon my brother, we both suffer from the same hereditary disease called being a dick. Assholes Anonymous couldn't cure us. He gives him a half smile that says, good fucking bye.
And thankfully, the server takes a hint.
He does. And they are upset with Connor because they're like, Connor fucking promised us food. And what is this like teensy weensy little appetizer thing? Like, I'm starving. We didn't eat dinner because we thought we were going to eat dinner here.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, and Sam's there.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Sam is standing with them.
He's like, what do you call what you're eating? Well, he's holding like these tiny little like finger food canapes.
Yeah. Lo gets it. It's a fucking snack. It's not dinner. And he's like, Lo's wondering, did Connor think we wouldn't show or something? Since when is Connor ever fucking sensitive? And then Lo brings up so one of the things that happened again in Fuel the Fire was Jonathan outed Connor's sexuality to the world. And it had been at a time when Lo and Reich had been trying to repair and mend their relationship with Jonathan, and he kind of blew that all apart by outing Connor in an attempt to try and gain control of Lo, because he didn't like how close Connor and Lo were getting.
Yeah, and Jonathan's like excuse was like, I'm protecting you, I'm looking out for you, but it's like,
and everyone saw right through that.
Yeah.
So then Lo tells Reich that Jonathan wrote Connor a note or like a whole letter apologizing for his actions, and basically like Connor is kind of forgiving Jonathan for this. And I feel like it's not really stated in here, but like, you know, that Connor's doing this for Lo and for Reich so that they can continue to try and mend their relationship with Jonathan. But Reich is worried because he's afraid that Jonathan is just continuing to try and manipulate Lo. So he's real hesitant on the intentions behind that.
Especially with Willow in the mix, and then Reich's just changed his name. So there's a lot going on.
The Hale drama, like the Jonathan Hale sibling, or not Jonathan Hale sibling, the Jonathan Hale children drama is, it is going. It's alive and well.
Yeah.
So then Lo's looking around and he goes, where's Lily? And Sam goes, the girls left like 10 minutes ago. It's like, Sammy, the fuck are you doing? You watched them walk out and you said nothing?
He was like, I respect their independence. Poppy's with them. They're fine.
Yeah, he's also, like, it looked like they wanted to be alone. Yeah. That's cool and all, but you could have told them, like, look, there go the girls. They look like they want to be alone, but we could at least, like...
I feel like it's definitely part of his, like, banter rivalry with Lo and Reich.
Yes.
Where he's like, well, I noticed this, but, like, I don't really need to want to tell you, and I'm not going to.
No. And Reich texts Daisy, where are you going? But also... he sends one to Lily saying, if you're getting food, get something for your husband. He's practically fucking frothing at the mouth. He's a good big brother. True. I love it because they're like both going on about how they don't have food and they're hungry, but he doesn't say to Daisy, bring me back food. It's just like, I gotta take care of my little brother. Lily, come help your husband. Get him some food, please. But they eventually learn that the girls are going to the drugstore, and Daisy says they're going on a mission to the drugstore. And he wants to know why.
Yeah, he's instantly just like, ooh, what would they need there?
Yeah, and in the middle of this, Connor shows up and he's dressed in a tailored black tux and sauntering towards us like nothing and no one can fucking touch him. He acts like the billions that he's worth. Connor Cobalt. And Lo says, don't look him in the eyes. Maybe he won't figure out how much we hate his party.
He's like, I came over to say hello, but I sense an issue. I feel like Lo is like screaming out the signals.
Lo's like, did you hear something? And Reich is like, well, Lo's on my side for once and not like on Connor's side. So yeah, I'm gonna feed into this and be like, nope, I don't fucking hear anything.
Yeah, the back and forth here is just hilarious.
Banter.
It's all about like, you're starving me. And he's like, are you talking about the New Year dinner?
Yes, it's the New Year's dinner is what Connor told them. Not the New Year's Eve dinner. 2 different days.
He's like, it's on New Year's Day. But I bet you he said New Year's dinner. And everyone would take that to mean like New Year's Eve. But
yes.
Connor's like, nope. No. New Year's Day.
I said what I meant and I meant what I said.
Yeah, they're just, the back and forth
Connor's
between
whole
these three
thing
is always great.
Today is New Year's Eve. I'd say it's a common mistake, but really it's not. And yeah, they're upset because like, yes, they skipped dinner. They're starving. But obviously, so Connor's been like, obviously the 3 guys, Lo, Reich, and Sam, have been over here having this whole conversation, dealing with all of these people coming over and trying to talk with them. Oh, there was like this whole bit too. I thought it was really cute where like one of the reasons why they do stand off to the side sometimes is because they are approached by like the business types and they'd rather keep that kind of attention away, like those people away from the Calloway sisters. So they like sometimes try and separate so that they just approach the guys and not approach the girls, which like there's something inherently sexist in them not coming to talk with the girls, but it is what it is. And the guys are like trying to,
at least they can be left alone.
Yeah. But so while those 3 are off in the corner, obviously Connor has been missing, and all of a sudden Reich looks over and notices Julian's walking around, and Connor's like, he should have left by now. So that is where Connor was. He was dealing with Julian.
Like Rose said.
Yes. And I mean, like, we kind of knew, but you kind of forget while the boys are talking.
Yeah, because you're not clear. Well, I mean, like Sam says, like the girls left 10 minutes ago. But we're like, how long is Connor dealing with him? Is it Hitman Connor? Is he like taking him out in the back alley? Or,
Connor's like washing his hands, getting like blood off his tugs.
But unfortunately, no, because Julian is back.
Yeah. And at first, Reich is like really angry that Connor knew that Julian was here. Calm down. I am. I'm not even close.
He's like, why are your hands in fists then?
And he can't even untighten them.
He does kind of not calm down a bit, but he like is restraining himself. And then like Julian's opening his mouth and chatting shit and saying like we need to talk the same way he did to Daisy, and they're like, no, we don't. Connor's already spoken with him, but now Julian really like steps in it and just he can't accept, obviously because he's so self-centered and he's all like, my image, I'm gonna be ruined. He's talking like whatever, all his crap and blaming Daisy. But then he goes and makes it worse by saying like he spoke to Daisy.
And he has just like Reich's like, you spoke with Daisy tonight. Yeah, Julian says, with a short smirk attached. Like, fuck off, man. You're such an asshole.
Also, there's like 4 guys standing around you. You're asking them for help, but you're still gonna be this like disgusting, like smarmy, like trying to insinuate something.
What is your brain telling you? It needs to be studied because it's telling you very wrong things.
No. And it just kind of devolves from there because Julian is deluded completely into thinking that he's done nothing wrong.
And that Reich has done something wrong too.
Yeah, he tries to blame Reich, but he's being really like verbally abusive about Daisy. And Connor and Lo are holding
see you next
Reich
Tuesday.
Back. Yeah.
Yes.
And Connor and Lo have been holding Reich back up until this moment, and like in sync, the minute they hear how Daisy's referred to, they let him go. And Reich's, locked and loaded and punches.
It's so cinematic the way I can picture this scene of them holding on to him and then their faces just drop and they're like, no.
Yeah. I love that also, like Connor and Lo are Daisy's brothers.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah. I mean,
We don't see that much of them always, like individual, like one-on-one interactions. We definitely have seen more in more recent books, like Connor and Daisy. But
mhm.
it is really nice to like have those little moments when it's reiterated or like reaffirmed how much they love and respect Daisy and will
Yes.
protect her.
Yes. And so Julian and Reich get in a fight, and security comes over and pulls them apart and is about to escort both of them out because they're both causing a scene. And Connor steps in and says, security, you can let Reich go. He's my friend.
And it
Yeah.
really means a lot to Wright because he's like, Connor is vouching for me after I punched him out at his party, meaning he values me above his reputation, above these people, his money, his company. And he would never have thought he meant that much to Connor.
I know.
So again,
That's,
like we have these really tense scenes, but there's so much like growth and just like really beautiful moments
yes.
between all of like Corsic.
Yeah, that's a huge statement for Connor to be making. Not only just like to security, but they just caused a scene, so everyone's paying attention, which means that everybody heard that. Yeah, yeah. So it won't remain a
Yeah.
secret for too much longer.
So yeah, he gets to stay. Julian finally gets escorted out.
And there's also like a bit where he says, I thought he would have made a Rottweiler joke and pushed me out the door besides Julian, not stood next to me.
Yeah.
Connor and Reich, I love their relationship. It's so complicated, which makes it even more fascinating to just see all of the interactions between them and what they actually mean to each other.
Yeah, like Lo kind of helps him like clean up the blood because obviously I think Julian got a couple of punches in or
Yeah.
one punch in. And then, you know, I think in the back of all of their minds, or at least Reich's mind, he's still thinking about like Daisy said they went on a mission.
Yes.
And then he gets his phone buzzes and he kind of freezes and everyone's like, Lo and Connor are like, what's happened? And
Yeah, his face drops, or yeah, my face falls. I finally take out my phone, my face falls. So,
we're like, oh, what could happen? What could have happened?
and I reread the text guaranteeing this is happening. I think I might be pregnant, Daisy. Yeah, it's just like the tension in these past couple of chapters, because we go from Daisy dealing with Julian to then she might be pregnant, but then and going to find answers, but then we don't get those answers because we have to go back and deal with Reich dealing with Julian, and like the girls are off missing. Who knows like what answers they're receiving, like what's going on with them, and it's just like all of this stuff is happening, and it's oh my god. I want them all to be okay, and I want a good answer for Daisy. So now we get to jump back to what the girls are doing, and they are in the drugstore bathroom, all four of them, and the bodyguards are outside, so they don't know what's going on because obviously the whole thing is that they don't like they're really trying to keep this a secret, and the bodyguards for the most part are on like Greg
Right.
and Samantha's payroll, or at the very least like Daisy's.
Yeah,
Daisy's
Price is like
bodyguard
Greg's
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Reich and I mean that's been an ongoing thing in this book.
Yes.
Like Reich and Daisy really don't trust Price. And they're very much like, is he a spy? Also, why is he so young? What is Greg doing? And
Yeah.
Price is more involved than the other bodyguards. Like he follows Daisy a lot more closely. So we're like, something's up here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's got I think 3 pregnancy tests.
yeah. And she says I think she's on the phone with I think she's on the phone with Reich. Yeah. But she's saying it's so faint. The 2 bars aren't bold and prominent. All 3 tests look exactly the same. And Rose is smiling. She's like so ready for Daisy to be pregnant at the same time as her. That was a whole thing is before either of them were pregnant. It was Daisy wanted to be pregnant with Rose so that she could experience the same thing that Rose and Lily did, being pregnant at the same time. So there's definitely some part of Rose that's like, I'm several steps ahead of my sister at this point, and I don't want to take away that experience, and like, I'm going to be happy about this.
Yeah.
And
then Lily and Poppy have also, I mean, Rose is already pregnant, but Lily and Poppy have taken like tests in solidarity with Daisy.
Lily's so cute.
It was it is very cute. I think also then she's like, Lily's worried, you know, like Daisy's desperately hoping that it's positive, and Lily's like really worried that it would be positive.
I take it back. They weren't on the phone. She's not on the phone. She's not talking to Reich yet.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, she had just
But
been
this
texting
is-
and put her phone away.
Yeah, but then her ringtone goes, and
Yeah,
it's
that's how I
Mike
know
and
that she wasn't
Daisy's
on the phone with
song.
him yet.
Yeah, I love it when it talks about their song.
Sweet Disposition. Yes, that is their song. And every time I hear it is Reich and Daisy immediately pop in my head. And I love it because like my dad has this whole Pandora station that's like he has fine tuned, and that song constantly pops up and I'm like, it's not even purposeful, like it wasn't added because I like the song and know the song. It's just like it's there. The universe forever randomly reminding me about these two, and I love it.
Yeah, but then so now she is on the phone to Reich,
Yes.
and Reich's immediately like, "Are you okay?" And he can tell. Daisy's like, she is okay, but he can tell that she's not. She doesn't have like a hopeful tone in her voice. And Rose, is like, she's just being pessimistic. We'll send you the photos. But I think it's very valid for Daisy because if she got her hopes up after all this time and it was like a false positive, it'd be devastating. So I think it's very, very understandable. And I feel like most people do the same in that situation where you'd be like, no, I'm not gonna get my hopes up after all this time.
And like Rose is obviously just in this headspace of I just really need her. She really wants Daisy to be pregnant so badly. But I do love that Lily and Poppy understand that valid fear because it's Rose is saying she's being pessimistic, Lily says cautious, Poppy says realistic. And they get that she's not gonna get her hopes up just yet. She needs to wait for the doctor. She really wants to wait for the doctor to confirm anything. And they're like, I guess they're like talking over each other because Rose is like, you don't think I'm realistic? And Reich's like shouting into the phone, like, are you all fucking listening to me? Is anybody still on the other end of this phone?
Yeah. But
And
basically, the guys are coming. They're going to meet them.
no, they're asking when the girls are coming back, and they're like, we'll be there in
Yes.
10 minutes. And then he sends her texts, you're all fucking crazy, every Calloway sister. I love you. And then Lily gets her results for her pregnancy test and she goes, I'm not pregnant. She's so happy about it.
Do we ever find out if. I don't think we ever find out about Poppy's.
Yeah, I don't know. Is she taking a
It's
test
never
or is she just going to
confirmed.
the bathroom?
Or maybe yeah. I thought they were all doing one because it talks about Poppy. We're waiting for. Oh, yeah. See, it's
Maybe she's
confusing
just
because it's
peeing.
like we're waiting for Poppy to go pee, but then obviously
Yeah.
because you have to pee on a pregnancy test,
Right.
we're like, but no, I guess it makes sense. Like Poppy's older and maybe she, we don't know her situation, but she doesn't have another kid. So,
Right. No, they meant, I
spoiler.
mean, yeah, I mean, it's I think it's kind of mentioned that Poppy had like really bad morning sickness or something with Maria, and that was one of the whole reasons why Poppy wouldn't be an option as a surrogate for Daisy because she doesn't really want to experience pregnancy again.
Yeah.
But I mean, like it could still be a whole solidarity thing of like, well, I'm expecting it to be negative and oh, would you look at that? It's negative. Good.
Yeah.
That was my plan.
Yeah. But I don't think it actually says that. And then it's just like Lily's happy. They put their pregnancy tests away and they leave. And
And
just
they're
as we spoke about Price, it's like they open the door to the bathroom and like the bodyguard is like right there. And it's just like, you don't need to be that close.
so they're like it's so funny the way they're wandering around this drugstore in their charity event clothing.
Yeah, like their ball gowns.
Yes, they look very fancy. But yeah, so Price is there and they Daisy's trying to like get to know him a little better. Um she's like, where are you from? And he explains his whole background that he's from Philly. Cause she's like, what's your like she's trying to get his background. He's like, it's all on my resume. And she's like, but will your resume tell me if you've worn a tux in your lifetime? Will I know if you put sugar cubes in your coffee? She's like, I don't really care about your like professional background. You're following me around. I want to know who you are personally. I need to get to know you a little better. And so we learned that he did, because I had questioned it, but yes, he did graduate from Yale. He was very smart, magna cum laude in criminal justice. He's worn tux to formal, grew up in a middle-class family home in Philly. Before his dad passed, they'd build classic cars from scratch. He had to ride a Ducati before Greg would hire him to prove that he could ride a bike and keep up with Daisy at like high speeds.
Yeah, and it really sounds like, Greg and Samantha really vetted him.
Yes.
And he's finally now explaining that to Daisy, and yeah,
Yeah.
kind of trying to give her the answer that she wanted.
Yeah, I aspired to be in the CIA or Secret Service, but Greg told me how much his daughter travels, the poor security you've had in the past, and how you plan to make roots in Philly. Overall, this job seemed like a better fit for my life, which is, yeah, it's, I guess we'll see more of it in like the Leica series, the way they really try and match up the bodyguard personality to the lifestyle of the person that they will be protecting. So this is like
Yeah.
one of our first instances of seeing them really try and match that correctly. Not like I'm thinking Garth, and I would never say that Garth was matched to Lily incorrectly, but we never really saw the thought process behind his hiring versus Price.
Yeah, exactly.
Although we kind of know about Garth is a guy following around Lily who is a sex addict. So like when he was first hired, it was like he smells a little funny to Lily so that she's not attracted to him at all. It's not a problem now that she's recovering, but yeah, that was definitely a detail when he was first hired.
I guess the other way could have been like just hire like a really, really buff woman to protect Lily.
Yeah.
And we do see there are a couple with like one, it's like Heidi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Heidi, I think she like protects Rose and Connor, which Rose the feminist, that would make sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so she gets a bit of background. Daisy finds out more about Price, and then Lily gets some snacks, some Doritos, and they leave.
Frilo. We know why she's buying like, snackies.
Have to go save her husband from starvation.
She was probably like, yes, I'm not pregnant. Crap, I was wasting away. I need to go get him food.
Like this man is like one missed meal away from death. It just fits with Lowe's dramaticism so well.
So well. Yeah, so they exit the drugstore
from having
into New York City.
And they go from kind of having this like sibling time, kind of semi-peaceful, like whatever, into mayhem.
Yeah,
New York,
it's
and
New
then
Year's Eve
shouting.
And didn't mention in the recap, but obviously at this point, they have been facing a lot of. Yeah, we didn't mention it. That after it became public information that they don't want to do another reality show, a lot of fans feel entitled to a show and like basically access to their lives via television, or in some way they want access to more of the Core Six's lives. And when they hear that they aren't getting that, they throw temper tantrums, and they're like heckling them, shouting rude things, and then they've started flower bombing them. So Lowe has been flower bombed and Rose has been flower bombed at this point.
And the crowds are just really, really aggressive. Like they're shouting horrible things, and it's really traumatizing and triggering for everyone.
Right. And it's just such a chaotic situation. I mean, Rose is pregnant at this point, so like she needs to be protected, but we can hear some of the things that are being hurled at like Daisy, and like there's a Daisy specific insult thrown out there, and Price is there to try and protect her. So he's like asking which side is worse and getting on that end so that he can protect her. Someone like
I think someone like tries to spit on her. It feels like they're having to push through a crowd, and like Daisy's like, someone's touching like my hips.
Yes.
And people, we've talked about this, like they're so entitled.
Well, so what happens first is someone tries to spit on her. Price stands in the way, it gets on him instead, and then someone flower bombs Daisy and she can't see anything, and all of a sudden she's feeling hands all over her. Like her sight that sense has been taken away from her, so now she's like, I imagine it would make her even more hyper fixated on other senses like touch and people grabbing at her
on both sides. So like it's after she gets firebombed, she gets touched, but also just as they start walking through the crowd, they're already touching her.
Yeah.
Which is like, because I initially thought that that's like Price trying to get the flower off her, but it's not. He wouldn't touch on her hips. So
because it's all in her face.
It's like they're all. I hate that. Is like, I mean, again, reading this as someone like you're really deeply connected to the characters, and you know what this means to her. It's so
they feel like a human.
Horrible. Yeah, to like. And again, like you just can't imagine it, that so-called fans
Are
would be
not
so
treating them.
entitled to like
Yeah.
touch you in that way. It's one thing to like try and like grab someone's arm or like try and get their hand or like their shoulder because
Or
you want
like
to make them
ask for a high
notice you.
five from them or something. It's
Yeah,
another
but to
thing to
touch
just
their
like,
hip, that's gross.
yeah,
That's gross.
yeah.
And yeah,
So,
so Daisy's she can't see, but she is like, panicking, and the people are touching her, so she runs.
yes, she has PTSD, and this is starting to remind, like, the aggression in the crowd. It's bringing her back to the Paris riot. So it's like, it's bringing up a lot of emotions for her, and she's trying to run away. But who's shouting
Yeah.
in the distance? It's Reich. He's coming to protect her. Like, obviously she has her bodyguard, but the bodyguard that she, like, Reich has always been her bodyguard too. So it's Reich and Price both start guiding Daisy out of the crowd and to somewhere safe, and they find a diner.
Yeah, Reich's carrying Daisy at this point.
Yes.
But I think also in just talking about Price, there's a moment where it's like she notices like Price's hands on her shoulders. Again, like as we were just talking about where touching someone. And she's like, I'm certain that he was guiding to me to Reich the entire time. I
Which,
think
okay,
it's a kind of
claps
a
to you,
nice
Price.
turning point. Like she's just found out more about him and
Yeah.
kind of now has like a bit of context to see him as a human being. And
Yeah.
he asked her like what side's better. He wasn't just trying to, I think like some bodyguards would just be like shoving,
Yeah.
just like trying
Listen
to
to
get
me,
you out of
I'm
the
in
crowd as
charge. Yeah.
possible. Yeah. But he was listening to her and being like, where can I be to help you? And then he was trying to get her out and he was guiding her to Reich because he knew. Because I think
Yeah.
also like
And
Reich and Daisy have been thinking like, is he here to try and get in between us?
yes.
But
Yeah.
it's like, no, he was taking her to Reich. He knows the
He
level
knows
of
who will
their,
help take care of her best.
yeah.
So they go into this diner bathroom to like clean her off, and she's like so upset and apologizing, which Daisy, you don't need to be apologizing for any of this. No.
Yeah, but then so yeah, they're trying to like clean her up and just like let Daisy get like the flour out of her like mouth and
Yeah.
everything. And I mean, as we said, like she's got PTSD and she's thinking about Paris and she can see her scar really
Yeah.
visible on her
Very,
cheeks now.
yeah, that
And
reminder.
I think it's really great as well because she says to like, I need you to call Frederick. Like she knows she can advocate for herself now and she knows like I need to talk to my therapist.
Yeah, this is a moment where like I'm mentally not doing okay and I need to talk to a professional. Like I do appreciate after all of the fans that they just experienced. There were two girls in the bathroom when they got in. While they're cleaning Daisy off, they step out and they're like, "Are you okay, Daisy?" And they seem like genuinely concerned for her. And then she like is like, "It's okay, I'm fine. I don't know you. Please leave." And they do like respect her and leave. And it's not like they have their phones out and are trying to take pictures. So then they do.
They're just like,
Yeah.
do you need anything? And she's like, I'm fine, thanks. And then they leave, which I think is very like the best way to handle it because I mean they are in the bathroom. It's not like they can teleport out, but just to be like, I think it'd even be worse if they completely ignored you. I don't know, in a
Yeah.
way, because maybe as the Callaways, it would be nice to just be like ignored. But then I think actually, if it was like you and me and just any other person in the bathroom, you would just ask when you saw someone.
Yeah.
That's like less about, obviously they know who Daisy is, but it's like common decency just to ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
are you okay? Do you need anything? So
So
that's a nice
yeah.
like contrast.
Yes, from what they had just experienced. So she does connect with Frederick and explain, like, she's having a moment, so it's hard for her to, like, get it out in words. Bless Frederick. She goes, "Something happened. I tell him pain in my chest. I try to exhale better. Paris." And immediately Frederick's like, "Is there someone around you? Who's here to help take care of you? Like, I need to make sure that you are safe before we, like, really dive into, like, physically, you need to be safe before we dive into helping you mentally," which... Bless you, Frederick.
Yeah.
But he's able to, well, she like explains what was going on and she's like, "I just don't like how everyone was touching her. I just want to be treated like a person. Everyone was grabbing me. It's not anyone's fault. I think everyone's so conditioned to see me as a thing and not a person. It's no one's fault." And Reich and Price are both just, you can see both of them. They're really upset with what she's revealing to Frederick, and they're obviously overhearing, but it's like, God, this fucking sucks for her.
And they're both feeling guilty. Like they hate that it
Yeah.
happened to her and that she feels like that, but also they're like, fuck, I didn't prevent it. And I
Yeah.
think especially Price. Like Rike's like, I wasn't there.
Yes.
And he
Price
knows
stares
like
far off
in
at the
depth.
ground, haunted and guilt-stricken. Yeah. But
But the cool
Frederick
Frederick
then,
really helps. Like
yeah.
she can breathe again and she just has someone to speak to.
Yeah, and he tells her, you can be angry, Daisy. You can want to be treated like a human being. You should be, don't you think? So he's like, can you call me when you get home, when you're safe too, Frederick?
Yeah.
You're the best. So she hangs up and Reich and Daisy climb up onto the sink. I think that's the sink counter. She climbs up and Reich's like, what are you doing? And he climbs up with her, obviously, figuring it out. She wants to scream and he will scream with her. And yeah, they're just letting out all of their anger and frustration with the moment.
Yeah, I think this part of the chapter ends really nicely. You know, it's again like she's thankful for Reich, my pillar, my wolf, my world, my life. And he's like, you ready, Calloway? And that's all. I feel like that encompasses, he's saying so much with those two words.
Yeah.
And then they have their scream together, which they really needed.
They have their screaming session. So then they step out of the bathroom and the diner is packed. And also, like, as they were running in, one of the hostess or whatever was like, you need to be a paying customer to use the bathroom. So they're like, well, fucking buy something, whatever. So when they step out, the rest of the family is like sitting down about to buy something. So it makes sense that they use the
Lo
bathroom.
is starving.
And Lo is starving too.
Lo needs dinner.
This is like the perfect excuse. He's like, what? You need us to be paying customers? Fine. I will sit my ass down and eat something.
He needs a drink to go with his Dorito. Which I think is crazy. Like you see these people being like, one of them's being carried and she's like covered in flour. And you're like, you can't use the bathroom, you need to pay. Come on.
No human decency. It's fine. And then immediately trying to like alleviate the tension, Lo says, I just lost $50. I thought you two were being murdered in the bathroom. And I bet, Lily, you weren't ever coming out. Oh my God, Lo.
But I think it's like perfect. And then we have like Lo and Rose like banter, and it's just they make it very comfortable for them. And then like so Reich and Daisy can join the table with like little fuss, not like awkwardly coming
like
up to
we know
in silence.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to alleviate the tension. Like, Daisy, you had your moment, but we're not gonna like make you linger in that pain and that space, so we're just gonna try and go back to normal. It's funny, they like I think they all have waters or something, or coffees, because the diner only serves Coke products, and they are
his life.
Yeah, obviously there's no fizzle products here, and they could never be seen. They'd never be caught dead with Coke. I think it's funny.
And Sam's
over here like, I'm working on it. Yeah, you literally got a fizzle executive in your diner. He'll take care of it, which I thought was so funny because, like, I know we talk about how they're the daughters of, like, they're heiresses of Fizzle, and Fizzle is like one of the biggest biggest soda products in the world. And I had just been listening to a podcast about Titangate, but the guy who did Titangate was saying there are 3 words that everyone in the world knows: God and the Titanic. And the podcast had devolved into like, Coke is actually like, it has been in 200 countries and territories, and it's so vast. And I'm over here like, dang, if Coke's that big, like, how big is Fizzle?
Yeah.
But it was putting into perspective for me, like, okay, so like, I never really thought that Coke was that big because I'm not a soda person, but like, yeah, okay, Fizzle's big.
It does feel crazy.
If Coke's that big, Fizzle's the...
Yeah. They're definitely number one. They're definitely beat Coke.
Yeah. But Daisy has noticed too that Reich is kind of bloodied up a little bit. He needed cleaning up, and she wants to know what happened, and he wasn't telling her, but she gets it out that he beat up Julian. And he beat up your shitty ex-boyfriend, and he won't say it, but I will. You're welcome. And you have the shittiest tasting guys besides this one. I definitely agree.
Yeah, I think
Um,
everyone does.
yeah, and she's worried that Julian actually spoke with Reich and then would reveal that Julian had spoken to Daisy before he came to Reich, and Reich. She knows Reich's aware. And then she starts making like a little I love this bit. She makes an origami flower. She goes, should I make a rose or a tulip? This shouldn't even be a real question. Rose, always a rose.
Daisy's like, of course, a rose with sincerity.
Yes. And then she says, can someone say something? You all don't have to watch me. I'm not going anywhere. I promise. Which is like, Daisy also suffers from depression. So it's something that they do have to worry about, like her mental state, where when she's feeling low, she has felt the need to run away. And this obviously could have been a moment where that would happen. And they obviously want to keep her as close as possible. Like they don't want her running away. So it's,
And I think definitely to Reich it always calls back, and maybe Lily as well. Like the bridge
yeah,
in the end of Hothouse Flower.
hothouse flower. And then Lily
So yeah,
gives
they
her a
are
big
like all
hug.
checking in.
And then Lily gives her a hug, and Rose is using the flower napkin to like dab her eye.
Oh,
And then all of a sudden the wait staff is coming out and giving them pancakes and all of their food. I laugh when a bowl of cereal is placed in front of Reich. He gives his brother a look. You can't complain. This is what you always eat, bro. I eat fucking
so
eggs
funny.
too. And just as he says that, a plate of eggs is set beside his bowl. You were saying. And then years ago, Lo couldn't say one good thing about Reich. Not out loud, at least. Now he loves him enough to order his favorite breakfast foods. He knows him well enough to get it right.
It literally says this means so much to Reich, and I'm like, it also means so much to us as readers. There are so many just little, like tiny moments just like this that just so perfect.
You had to experience them at their lower moments where they were butting heads earlier in the series to truly appreciate just like these tiny little moments where they do truly get each other now. It makes it. And tying into like so clearly, Lo understands his brother, but we get this moment of there's nothing here for Daisy to eat. And Reich's just like, yeah, it's fine. You guys can keep eating. I think one of the sisters is like looking around trying to flag down the waitstaff. Like it's very clear that they're expecting something, but they're not saying it out loud what it is that they're expecting.
Yeah, and Daisy's like,
no, there it
it's
is.
okay.
Rose cranes her neck over her shoulder, motioning to the waitress. My sister's piercing stare is shriveling the meek girl.
But yeah, Daisy's like, it's okay. And Reich is like trying to push his eggs over to her. And she's just like, it's fine. Like, it's fine. I'll just order something.
It might take a while for something to order. I trail off as a waiter appears, a plate in his hand. The minute it rests in front of me, I start crying. It's a slice of chocolate cake. Cake fixes everything, remember? I'm crying too, damn it.
Yeah, especially the bit. And she's like, thank you. But she's like, how silly to think my sisters will forget about me. They haven't. Not in a long, long time.
Oh my god, I love it. Yeah, so we're going on about Lo knowing his brother really well, but Stacey's sisters know her really well too.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one of like the longest books in this series, and it is one of the last books, but it is just there's so much growth from all of the previous books, like you said, from their lowest moments, and from all of the just like how they used to be like only a handful of years ago, and now it's so different, and it's so, yeah.
Yeah, so then we go into the next chapter. It is middle of January. Reich and Daisy are on Grand and Daring Stakeout number 6. So we saw them at number 1. So we've missed 2 through 5. There have been more adventures. And obviously this is them trying to track down flower bombers to get them to stop.
So yeah, they're at the zoo this time.
Yeah. I think it's limited info about this last New Year's flower bomber. Just zoo worker, brown hair, gray eyes, long sideburns means our likelihood of finding him is around 4%. Reich still pushed the zoo trip harder than any of the last stakeouts. Well, he says it too. She says it too. But I almost wonder if he made it all up to give me some hope and a whimsical zoo adventure. I don't want to ruin the fantasy, so I don't ask. But I don't know where it is, but obviously it's the middle of January and she hasn't brought it up, but She was not pregnant. So
I
obviously,
think it will come up later, but it's kind of like you can infer by the fact that it's the middle of January.
and
So, like a couple weeks have passed since she told Reich I might be pregnant.
we're
So
not really seeing
unfortunately,
them celebrate.
yeah,
That would be something that they would be reveling in. And there's no reveling happening right now.
yeah, exactly. But there is very cute banter happening, and there's a lot of like their really cute flirtation about the zoo and all of their little puns, and then they kind of think like progress into like there's so much banter
Yeah.
and little flirting, and I think also that's probably also why there's a time jump. Like they would have had a really sad time when they realized she wasn't pregnant,
Yeah.
and now they kind of trying to be normal. And
To normal. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but then they get to the panda exhibit,
Yes.
and I think actually this is, as we were just talking, they're like progressing through the zoo. They come to a panda exhibit, and as I think I've never seen this actually, but that happens a lot. Like when you're at the zoo and one of the animals is giving birth,
Yeah.
and people are watching and they're announcing it's a girl, and yeah, Reich like pulls Daisy in, and he's like, he can see that Daisy she's starting to be disappointed, and he's like, let's go and see the birds. And Daisy's like, it's okay, but it's not okay. I'm not pregnant again. The New Year's Eve false test can be added to the other ones. I shouldn't have even believed it could have been true.
Hey,
It's so sad.
it is. And he goes, it's going to be okay. Whatever road we fucking take, it's going to be okay. How do you know? Because I fucking have you, Calloway. I don't need anyone else.
And I think we discussed that like earlier in one of the previous episodes, because there's a quote where he's like he would be happy if it was just him and Daisy forever.
Yeah.
Like obviously he really wants Minnie Meadows, but he would be happy if it was just them. But he knows that
Yeah.
Daisy wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Or like she would be. It wouldn't be that she was disappointed in her life with Wright, but
Right.
there would be that like little one thing that was missing that they really wanted.
Yeah. She goes, I can't help but feel like I'm failing you, which, yeah, Reich says it best. Don't ever fucking believe that because it's not fucking true. If time reversed itself and you knew from the very beginning that I might be infertile, would you even kiss me in the stairwell in Paris? I'm always kissing you in Paris days. Every fucking time I'm kissing you, there is nothing that changed my course.
That's one of my favorite quotes. I think I'm always kissing you in Paris. Like that.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, they
And
have a nice. I think they like we said, they always resolve their arguments, but they always resolve moments of like hardship on either of them. They're always there for each other.
I also love this bit too because like he says that and she's like wiping away her tears. I need more reassurance these days and I apologized once for this and he told me to never apologize again, that he'd give me as many fucking truths about us as I needed. All I had to do was ask. So I don't say I'm sorry. Like, yes, Daisy, good. Because she was like apologizing when she was crying even a chapter ago when she was flower bombed, and already we're seeing growth with this girl.
Yeah, but then it goes from Reich and Daisy's like tender moment to
Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah, because it's a grand and daring stakeout. They don't have their bodyguards with them. They're like ditching their bodyguards for this.
But
This
Daisy
kind of
is
stuff.
wearing like a disguise. She said she was wearing like a short or like a crimped wig
Or something
and
like that. Yeah.
sunglasses. But I don't think Reich's wearing a disguise, and Daisy is probably pretty recognizable. Like if you saw Reich and then you saw like a tall supermodel-esque blonde.
She's got a very defining scar across her face too.
That's true.
Yeah,
The
you would
sunglasses and the wig are
recognize.
not hiding her.
No. Yeah. So cover blown, they have been discovered. And it happens again that people start touching at her. She says, don't pull. And is she up on his shoulders? Yeah, she was already up on his
He puts
shoulders
her
while
there,
they're
yeah.
pulling at her. So he has to take her off his shoulders just so
Which is
that.
crazy. It's like someone tugs on my coat so Reich will turn around, but it pulled me backwards. How did they think that was going to work? Oh, he's going to turn
Again.
around because you've pulled his fiancée to the floor? Like, he's going to kill you.
And we all know
Their
Reich has
fans
a
are
temper.
they're
Like, do
so
you honestly.
cranky.
Nuts. I don't understand the logic of these fans. So they're getting mobbed and.
I think someone like tries to let them out, but Daisy has this really like horrible like realization She's like, I think it's right now when a little boy with cotton candy points up at me that I realize I'm an animal in this zoo. I feel like that's how they must all feel, especially in this book when they're constantly being like mobbed.
Yeah.
That no one treats them with respect. No one treats them
No.
like they're human beings. And that's even worse for Daisy after everything, like literally what she was just saying to Frederick.
But as they're leaving, they recognize someone familiar towards the exit.
Who could it
In
be?
an expensive black suit and sunglasses, his shoulders propped confidently on the wall of a gift shop, ankles crossed. Surrounded by bodyguards, he basks in the attention. Who could it be?
He does look like an assassin now, doesn't he? He's got his henchmen.
Connor Cobalt the Hitman.
Yes. Yeah, he takes him into the gift shop.
He walks away and Daisy's like, are we supposed to follow him? He doesn't really say anything to them.
He really does act like their boss or their like gang leader.
Yes.
I see it. I see it now in the other universe.
Yes, alternate universe. So Connor tells them that he has a private investigator who's been tracking Riken. Daisy's private investigator. My PI also said that you two have been stalking potential perpetrators. And Connor says, what's amusing about this, other than the fact that you two are searching in a zoo? And Daisy catches Reich mouthing the words, shut the fuck up. And she goes, I've known all along, right? We were never supposed to be in the zoo. I think I love him more for that. He just wanted to cheer me up.
That's so cute.
So Connor is like, you guys need to stop trying to find these flower bombers because you're not going to find these flower bombers. It is like you've been putting all of your hope and prayers into having a kid, and we've been watching that get dashed, and now we're watching you throw even more effort into trying to find these flower bombers, and you're not getting anywhere with that either. And it's just like, we can't I can't watch you two put your excess energy into this because it has no good ending and you both need one.
Which, like Connor has their best interests at heart and he's delivering it actually not in the worst way.
Yeah.
But I don't think either of them is happy
she
with
says,
that.
I'd rather keep the slightest hope alive, even if we're fooling ourselves. Is that so bad?
Yeah.
And Reich's like, I thought you were going to keep your fucking opinions to yourself. I know. This is the last time. Consider it a bonus. I don't give those often. So take pleasure in it while you can. And tell your PI to leave our fucking PI alone. You're a stubborn piece of work, my friend. I smile at the my friend part. Have you seen the ship names of you two on Twitter?
And again, wait, because this is like in the first episode when we were talking about like, and I think Reich and Daisy are like, how does Connor know that word? And here, Reich is like, what the fuck was that? What the fuck do you mean? And Connor tries to explain what a ship name is.
Yes!
And I think that's just exactly like the beginning where it was like, who explained all of this to Connor?
Yeah, that was Lily and Lo were teaching them all of the pop culture terms out there, and he's like, no, I need to go do my research, figure this out. I need to be an expert. But Daisy explains that, yeah, like during that New Year's Eve party, like everyone saw Connor coming to Reich's defense, and now everyone understands, like, because they've butted heads so much, it's really hard to capture moments when these two are friendly to each other, and Connor openly coming out and saying he is my friend and he's staying here solidified what their relationship is to the public. And
they have a ship name. And
yeah, Willow said the Twitterverse went insane and started calling you friends. Now you have a ship name. You know it, don't you? What the fuck is it? Coke.
That's so funny.
Connor answers in a flat tone, but mild annoyance crosses his face, probably at the prospect of sharing anything with Reich.
Do you know though? I'm like, what else would it be? Like the only other thing if he is like Reichner, because like
Reiner.
The other ways of trying to combine their names online, or like if you only took R, it'd be like Ronner.
Listen, coming up with ship names is hard.
But talking about Coke's Empire. Daisy does then like comment on the fact that it's
Coke, like Pepsi, has always been Fizzle's nemesis, and in a way, it's kind of wrong that Reich and Connor have a ship name based on our family's competitor. But then, yeah, though, when you remember how much they do not mix, how much they never seem to gel, two men who see the world in vastly different ways and vastly different colors, forced to be around each other, forced to cultivate something, I believe any name for Reich and Connor would have to be a little wrong to be right. Whether they like it or not, it really fits. And their friendship isn't as fragile or as breakable as they'd like to imagine.
Daisy's theory here is it got a little
It's
two
so right,
tabs.
though.
It's so perfect. Friendships that take the most effort and the most time become the mightiest, most resilient bonds in the end. So if this is the theory that proves right, their friendship will be the strongest of them all. Which, yeah, like they have had such a hard time, like a long time coming. Their friendship really is made to last now that it's
Yes.
getting there longer.
And then he goes, I really wish you would consider waiting for Rose to be a surrogate. It's a goal that may bring you more happiness in the very end than these ones. You want your wife to carry Reich's baby. For you two, we'd do almost anything. Connor was the one who discovered the child pornography tapes of me. He's why Scott Van Wright went to jail and why Scott's friends won't ever replay those videos and violate me. I've never said thank you to Connor, but I'm so immeasurably grateful for what he did. I nod to him and whisper, I know you would. Thank you. If anyone is smart enough to see the depths of my words, it's him. I just wish he would offer a platter of false hope. I'm doing this whole thing that I'm doing with my Burn Bright arc of like, I'm highlighting all of my favorite parts and I'm basically highlighting the entire freaking book. And I feel like I'm just about to start doing an audiobook reading long way down because it's all just too good.
I feel like we could do that though, but then I feel like we would reach part 10.
Yeah.
We'd be like, guys, it's part 10. We're on page 400.
Guys, it's 2026. We've finally reached the end of Long Way Down.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So it's been another month and still nothing on their baby making front, unfortunately.
How long has it actually been? When did the book start? Like month-wise?
August.
Okay. So it's February now.
Yeah.
It's been like 8 months, really.
Which, yeah. And it's hard too because obviously she has her cysts. And she's been talking, she like talked about on the plane to Tahoe that she hadn't been experiencing pain with her periods and everything had been fine, but now it's happening again that this last period she had like excruciating pain and was curled up in a ball and hugging a pillow like she was dying. And it's like this ticking time bomb inside of her because they know that the cyst is the problem. But if they want to conceive naturally, then they have to just push through that.
Yeah, but also if they want to do IVF, I think she'd have to have another surgery if the cyst continues. And it's just really hard. Daisy's, she's so young. And like all these like horrible like medical things. It was like, why can't she have like one thing?
Yeah. So as he's like, she's just my first priority with all of it. Our lives have to move on together. Yes. Yeah. There's no other way that I will accept that. So he's like, this is why. So he's saying that he's trying to get to Rose and Connors because that's where she is with Lily and Lo. That's all he says. But he's stuck at the Fizzle headquarters with Greg and Sam and all of these other executives because they want Reich to. He's the face of Ziff, which was something that we saw in Addicted After All. Yeah. And they want him to climb a rock face, an impressive rock face, to
promote the newest one.
And they're trying to get it on the same level as when he free soloed the Yosemite Triple Crown. That like gained a lot of attention. I think mostly because of who he was, that like it brought media attention because he said this isn't like, he's not the first person to have done this. This was just like one of his personal goals. But they really want something that no one else has done before to like really make an impact.
Yeah, and there's a lot of back and forth, and it's really like the board, not really like it's not like Greg only, but he's like the rest of the board is like, we just want something that's massive, like hasn't been done before, massive publicity, and they don't have. And the thing is, right, these are executives, they're not stupid, but to them, they don't care. They're not thinking about the fact of like how dangerous this might be or any of that stuff. And they're like handing him a check.
Yeah.
He's like, my life is worth $10 million to Fizzle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And everything. I think Sam tries to be like, do you think there's a cliff that you can climb that has the same appeal is Yosemite, but that's easier. You know, Riker's like, you know, he spent years practicing, trying to, you know, he's put on his jacket. He really just wants to go, but he's really trying
Yeah.
to explain to them without getting too like aggressive and like frustrated how difficult Yosemite was, and like he put years of practice into it. It's not just something that he can just do it all the time to promote their drink. And then Greg's like, what's the risk if you free solo climb something on par with Yosemite? Death?
Yeah. And that just like everyone's fucking quiet. Because, yeah, I mean, obviously, for like the core six and for his family, they don't want that. You know, that'd be devastating for him. I imagine like some part of the executives are like, oh, fuck, we don't want that liability on our hands.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so he's trying to leave because it's Daisy's birthday, and he really just like, they keep trying to hold him in this meeting to try and figure out, like, they just really want to pick this jaw-dropping cliff for him to climb. And they said that they like eventually agree that they'll go back to the drawing board and try and figure out something that's comparable but still safe for him.
Yeah, because I think Reich's thing is also he was like, well, I could do this climb, but I need like a year at least to prepare. And they're like, they want to promote it like as soon as possible. So he's like, well, those things don't add up. Like we can't do that. So eventually, finally, they see reason. And like you said, they're like, okay, we'll come back to this.
And there's like a sense of concern with Greg because like obviously this is a large sum of money, and he talks about how I have to think about time, I have to think about Daisy, I have to think about consequences, and my little brother. Will cash persuade me? Will it push me towards a rock phase that I'd never considered trying? I'm not sure. And then Greg's like, you have no other job but this one, and it's important to me that you have motivation. You're about to marry my 21-year-old daughter. All I hear is a father saying, I don't want my youngest daughter hitched to a bum. I have drive for the things I fucking love, and I have medals, awards, and articles about races I've won, climbs I've done. None of that matters to him, not even my passion for running or rock climbing. He just cares about the check. And it's like, this is that whole thing of Reich is doing this because he loves it. It's part of his soul, and everyone's just really afraid of seeing the money tied to this.
Yeah. I think, you know, he stands on, cut that out, I was about to say he stands on business, and I was like, I don't want to say that. But Wright does, you know, stand up for himself as he usually does. But I think he has more caution sometimes with Greg because he is aware, like, this is Daisy's dad, and Daisy has, like, a semi-decent relationship with him, and Daisy wants to keep that relationship, but Wright is like, that's bullshit. I've said yes to practically everything you've thrown at me since I signed onto it, and I'm here on my fiance's birthday. I'm saying no right now, and you're gonna fucking hear me.
Like, he's literally telling you he could die if they don't approach this correctly. And Greg's over here like, well, if you're not committed to Ziv, Greg,
do you not
are you
think
kidding me?
Your daughter would care?
I know, she'd never
fiance...
speak to you again.
Literally.
God.
I know. But Daisy's text,
Yeah, like,
do you know where
I'm
I
just
can
thinking,
find my wolf?
Yes. Yeah.
She really wants him to also come, and that's also to him, like, he just wants to get out of here, and all these people are just talking about money, and he's like, get me out of here.
Yeah. She goes, have you seen my wolf? And I text Daisy back, proof, and add a photo in my camera roll that I took a couple of days ago for her, a naked close-up of my abs and cock. I pressed send. OMG, you're totally my boyfriend.
And I mean, we talked about this because we're like, guys, there are so many people who are like obsessed with you, and like,
and meanwhile,
also who have negative thoughts, but they have so much stuff on their phones, and I'm like, oh my god.
She calls him her boyfriend. He goes, I'm your fiance.
That's so cute. And yeah, this is why he's walking out. So he's finally just left this stupid meeting. And it's time for Daisy's birthday. But it's also a joint bachelor and bachelorette party.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's... So Daisy is outside of Rose and Connor's place, letting Coconut do her business. And she talks about the difference between the houses that Rose and Connor live in, this like very stately, very elegant kind of house, but just down the street is and Lily's like cozy house. And there's like brief talk about whether Reich and Daisy will ever eventually move out. Like, they haven't started thinking about it, but it does feel like at a certain point Reich and Daisy need
Yeah.
to move out of Lily and Lowe's place because they're already calling it Lily and Lowe's place. They went out all in on that one house. And then Rose and Connor moved out and got their own place. So in theory, it should be Lily, Lowe, Reich, and Daisy's place because they all went in on that. But it already feels like it's not
Yeah.
their home.
But you can see where the kind of issue is coming in because it's talking about like they don't want to move outside of their gated
Yeah.
community. Both obviously because they don't want to be away from their siblings and family, but they don't want to be like security reasons. But
Yeah.
there's not much for sale, which obviously also is then like, well, we can't really move out.
Yeah. So Reich does finally show up. He's like, "Why are you outside?" She's like, "I'm trying to freeze my eggs." He goes, "That's the stupidest fucking thing I've heard from you all week. Lily told me that Captain America was frozen for years and never aged when he woke up." Yeah. So they go inside. Oh, no. They don't. They're just like having this moment. And he's like, "Let's do something fucking crazy." So they run to the backyard and jump in Rose and Connor's pool. It's February.
Glacial cold pool.
Yes. Glacial cold pool. Yeah, again, it's February. She's like outside. It's freezing. I don't know if they said that there's snow on the ground, but like, yeah, winter.
Definitely. Especially since Reich was so concerned about Daisy, like not having a jacket on, not having shoes on. And they're like, let's jump in this ice cold pool.
Might as well. Yeah. So they jumped in and now they're back. Now they're back inside. They're in the laundry room trying to change out of their freezing cold clothes because they just went in fully dressed.
Yeah, so they're
like handing each other clothes from Rose and Connor's laundry. He's like, "Don't make me wear Cobalt's underwear."
But yeah, it's cute. They kind of also have a little warm up moment on the dryer.
Yeah, in the wild, animals use sex to heat up their bodies.
I mean, it follows on from the flirty text. And,
yes.
You know, obviously they want to try. They're still very, very dedicated to conceiving.
Meanwhile,
but they're also having a lot of fun with it.
Yes, they are.
And then they start to like hear noise.
Yep.
From other people.
I love it too because it's chatter out in the living room amplifies, coming closer and closer. Fuck, and not the fucks I like. I swiftly break away from her. Daisy's lips are puffy and red, but she gives me the biggest lopsided grin and hangs onto my like. Daisy's. I don't care. I'm just so happy in this moment to be with you.
But it's Lily who comes in and she's like, should I post this video of you two onto Snapchat, Instagram, or Twitter? And they're both like, what video? Because they've just been having sex in a public-ish space. And they're like,
and
what?
we've seen some of the videos that these two take. And Lily looks up and she goes, "Did I interrupt something?" Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then Lo appearing and he's like calming or like chilling Lily out. And he's like, they went fucking Rose and Connor's laundry room, love. It's far too clean in the here. There's no dirt and there's not a view of the moon. Definitely not their thing.
It's funny because we were talking about how like Lo knows, like the siblings all know Reich and Daisy so well with like their food orders, but like
they know each other so well in all aspects. They're like, this is a place that Reich and Daisy would have sex. This is a Lo and Lily place, and this is a Rose and Con place. Imagine in their brains, there's like divisions.
Yes. So then this is where they explain that they're doing this bachelorette party and posting about it so that the public thinks that the wedding will be coming soon, when in actuality the wedding is like nowhere. It is not anytime soon.
They're getting married on July 15th.
Yeah. So they're hoping that way their wedding won't be too crazy. The paparazzi won't be trying to come after them because they'll have already thought that the wedding will have happened.
Yeah, so that's why Lily's getting her videos ready.
Yes. To be able to post online.
And Lowe's like offering advice on the hashtag raisins need more love. And the thing is, that's perfect. I mean, other than the raisins, but Lily definitely took that hashtag and used it.
100%. And then we get into this whole thing about their ship name being Raisy. And he goes, "You know what happens when I see raisins in a cookie or a slice of bread? I think, get the fuck away from me. You've ruined my food." You don't want that negativity attached to your ship name.
The cinnamon roll section. There's just a lot of really good like banter between the brothers and just between all of them.
Yes. And then it ends with, I'm going to do a hashtag with Razy is alive. And Daisy is like, I like it, and gives her thumbs up. But it's this hashtag Team Razy is one of the only things that unifies them against the three-way shit. As much as Lo teases them, as much as Lo teases about raisins, he knows it too. Which Lily is just like so determined to try and make people understand that Reich and Daisy are the thing, and that she's fully supportive of it.
Yeah.
And that the three-way
Because it's
rumors don't
horrible. Like,
exist.
we've talked about it in previous episodes and like how devastating this must be for Daisy. And Daisy even says like, why do people not think I'm good enough? Like, why can't I be a right? But it's also horrible for Lily, and like why
Just
people
like
think
knowing,
she,
yeah.
yeah, like they can't just respect that she's of low and she is in a monogamous relationship, and they can't put her past and whatever. And again, these are all people who are like, we're fans.
Yeah. But she's just like, and she loves her sister so much. I don't understand why people would think that, like, because Reich and Daisy are together. Does she think that, like,
Well, maybe the fans think it's all an elaborate ruse. Because,
I don't get it.
like you're saying, like there's no way that people who looked at them and saw how close the sisters are would think that Lily would betray her sister like that.
Yeah. That's where I was going with that. Is like Lily's not enticing Reich to cheat on Daisy. Like, it's all stupid.
It's so stupid.
Yeah. And
Yeah, so they go out into the living room.
oh yeah, and they're dressed in Rose and Connor's clothes. Reich's just in Connor's pants. I just like that part where Connor notices and Reich's like, don't fucking ask, and all Connor says is, don't come in my pants. Lo starts laughing so hard I think he may roll over onto the fireplace.
Oh, but you know what's cute? They're waiting on Willow and Garrison.
Yes.
Because they're
Yeah,
in traffic, but they're getting the cake.
Yeah. So during that bit, Daisy laughs at Reich, and Reich is like, you think that's fucking funny? And he starts doing his teasy, like, physical flirting with Daisy. They're like rolling around on the floor right now. And Lo grabs Reich's phone and he's like, what's your passcode? I'm trying to get into your phone. And these two are just like so focused on themselves. They're not paying attention to like what's really being asked right now.
Exactly. They're like just having a really fun time. They're enjoying their party. And everything. And then Lo can't find Reich's photo app, and it clicks for Reich. And he goes rigid. Daisy's eyes are wide in horror. And Lo, it is innocent. Like Lily wants their selfies because they're trying to post more raisin pictures. Not me saying how low. They're trying to post more raisin pictures on Twitter. Yeah, but Reich and Daisy are like,
Yes. Where is it? I haven't counted how many dick pics I've saved in my photo album, but it'd probably taken less than a fucking second to stumble over one. That's a lot, right?
why don't you delete them?
Or something, bud.
Or, I mean, it would probably be even worse if they had like a digital camera where they had them printed out, because they'd probably lose one. All I can think about is we've talked about this so much, and it's like people go through other people's phones.
Yeah.
This is why you get taught as a kid that you don't put nudes on your phone.
They'll learn after this moment.
Reich tries to get to him. He's like telling Lo to stop, and he's sprinting at full speed across the room. But he doesn't make it in time, and it's not that Lo finds a photo. There's a video, and the sound is on, and it's Daisy, and like everyone. Also, for context, like are Moffy and Jane not in the room? They're like playing on the carpet.
Yeah, I think so. They're all there. Everyone's there.
They're all there, and that just starts playing. And instead of pausing it, Lo just flings the phone.
Throws it up.
So it's still playing. The sound is still playing. And who does it land at but Connor's feet? Connor, who's already seen too much.
Yes. And Reich is like running over to Connor, trying to grab it, and Connor just like leans down, picks it up, and turns it off. Just like,
it's like Rose is frozen in shock. Lily's like dying, her hands over her ears, and he's, you know, like Reich gets his phone back, and it is hilarious. But also, it then ends on a sober note, because it's like he's only concerned about Daisy, who's like bright red and with embarrassment, which is obviously not great, because she doesn't really care about like this kind of stuff, but she cares because it's her siblings.
Yes.
I think she
Yes.
cares mostly because it's Connor and Lo.
Yeah. Yeah. She like, they talk about how the girls will talk about sex with each other and the guys talk about sex with each other, but like, there's not that mingling of them talking all together about sex. Yeah, that's not a
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, so she goes, the next chapter starts with what the fuck. I open my mouth to toss out a joke, lighten the awkward tension, but my mind is a black abyss. And Reich is like, please, everyone, just forget this. And bless Lo, he goes, look, love, 2/3 of us have sex tapes and we're not one of them.
Uh,
And Reich's trying to be like, this isn't a sex tape. And he goes, just because it's not high quality doesn't mean it's not a sex tape.
at least they're trying to lighten the moment.
Yes.
Be
So,
worse if it was like awkward silence.
yeah. So, bless Rose. She's like, I'm taking charge. We're moving on from this. Not going to talk about this anymore. So she's like, bets are now open and you can try and get.
Yeah, so she's opening the bets, and Lo obviously has to go. Well, what are you voting? Because I'll obviously be the opposite of you.
Yes. And it's this whole thing that we've seen with Rose and Connor. Their whole plan is that whenever Rose has a girl, that will be the end of them having kids. She just wants Jane to have a sister. So it's this whole thing of like fate, or as Connor would say, chromosomes, are going to decide the size of their family. So Connor's over here like, I want a boy.
Yeah.
And Rose is over here like, I don't care. Fate can give me whatever it gives me and I'll be happy. So there, Lo, you can't pick opposite of me.
Yeah. But then it's kind of funny when Daisy's like looking at Rose and she's like, she looks a little bigger than she was last time, maybe. Which is obviously like, really comment on pregnant ladies.
Oh, Daisy,
Like,
why did you ask? Why did you say it out loud?
I know, and she's like, have you been lying about how far along you are? And then it gets worse because she tries to explain herself. She's like, I explain myself the best I can. It's just that you look a little bigger than last time. Lo audibly winces. It's been nice knowing you.
And Rose says that there's more news, but she wanted to wait until the next day, like after this whole party, because this is Daisy's day, before she said anything. And Lo goes, Christ, don't say it. The baby has hooves and it's babies, which
is kind of a shock
yes,
to all of them. But Lo is immediately like, sorry, we were going to bet on this, but you're having two. Such a cheater. He's
the
always got
dirtiest
to
thing
be in
you two have done
competition.
in a while.
And I think also Lo, like, he's very, very smart. He is trying to lighten the mood for Daisy because now it's like
Yes.
doubly as bad.
Yeah, Rose.
Daisy is happy. She is congratulating. She tries to give Rose a hug, but she's like, my smile rising with my joy, however dull, it's still there for her.
Yeah.
And I think that's something always she never, even when everyone knows that you're going to be affected by this, Daisy always still tries to just like be okay. And I mean, to be honest, she is genuinely happy as well.
Yes.
But
again, it's this whole thing of like, it's hard not to compare herself, and like, she's over here trying desperately to have one kid and Rose is now having two.
Yeah, so they're pregnant kind of by accident and she's having two.
So there's definitely like a little bit of jealousy in that, but like still very like, she can feel two things at once. She feels so happy because she says, I hope it's two boys so you can have your empire. Like, she wants her sister to have the big family that Rose and Connor have always envisioned. Like, this is really good news for them. But at the same time, yeah, there's some jealousy and sadness that comes with that. And
yeah, Reich is like silently comforting her.
Yes. I hear his unspoken words. Want to fucking wrestle, Calloway. Want to do something fucking crazy, Calloway. Want to wait wolf pups with me, Calloway. With you. Only with you.
And then Willow arrives.
Yes.
I feel like we haven't seen Willow in ages.
I know. It's been a while. But she's bringing the penis cake. Lily's like, I don't know if I can eat.
I mean, it's also because she says like she didn't know if Willow was white from being outside in like the February weather, or if she was just like because she was carrying a penis cake.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and they're all wondering why Willow and Garrison were a little late, and Garrison doesn't help. We both offer to fuck.
Dryly.
Yes. Oh, God. And it's Reich and Lo. Like, Garrison, you were saying this to her two older brothers now, buddy. Her two older brothers who are 2/3 of the hot-tempered triad, buddy.
And it's funny that he says it because Willow is like, she's choking. She's like, no, we didn't. And
No,
Garrison's like,
yeah.
but they know that. But he still said it. He still loves to stir the pot a bit.
Yeah, he does. And Daisy's like back to distract. She goes, "Who wants the head?"
To no response from anyone. I think Lily's still like dying over the cake.
Yeah. Oh, but it's so sweet too, because like they're trying to distract, but Lo says, "I'm trying to remember why I like you, but it's all clouded by an image of me stabbing you. So feel lucky I'm not holding a goddamn knife right now. You still like me?"
And really just pulls on all my heartstrings.
Yes. Yeah, it's like Daisy's like, it's so sweet how much they want to protect Willow, but like at the same time, they're like, we'll see. Garrison has not been treated very well, and like they're not treating him poorly, even though they really could give him so much shit.
Yeah.
And they don't, and I love it.
It's cute, and like Daisy and Willow have a little like hug moment and everything. There's still some tension between Willow and Reich, or like Reich doesn't really still know what's going on, but
Yeah.
Willow will find out.
Yes.
But it's still Lily struggling to eat the cake.
Yes,
like,
I can't eat the shaft.
And Lo's like, Lil, it's a cake. She's like, no, it's a penis. Lo goes, no love, this is a penis, and puts her hand on it.
Just to clarify, what's what? We got it.
No, it's hilarious, but he is trying to help her.
Yes,
He's
is.
like, just enjoy the cake.
Yeah. And then, of course, I attribute this to a whole Meadows thing. Daisy starts a food fight. She grabs a piece of cake and she throws it. Or no. I think Reich does it. He like throws a piece of cake at her and she turns to him and goes, "This means war." And so they start having a food fight and Lily and Lo participate. I assume Garrison and Willow also start to participate. Rose and Connor are like standing off to the side. They sip coffee by the pot hand in hand. Yeah. They remain clean and out of harm's way.
But it's so cute. Garrison draws a heart on Willow's cheek as the icing, and then she draws a star on him. They're like involved in their own little way. Lo and Lily are like battling with theirs.
Yes. And then Daisy hears the sound of a body hitting a cabinet and she looks over. And Garrison's kissing Willow. This is her first kiss. She doesn't know what to do with her hands and he grabs them and directs her where to put them. So cute.
But it's so cute.
And I love it because I think we had kind of talked about it in that chapter where they were at the Froyo place, that Daisy had been asking about like, what's it like dating Garrison? And she's like, we haven't even had our first kiss yet. And Willow felt bad because Daisy was like, you got to tell me right away when you two kiss. But Lily made her promise to tell her first about her first kiss. But it doesn't even matter because they all just get to witness the moment.
And it's so cute from Daisy as well, because like Willow's kind of how like Rose and Lily are best friends, even though they're all sisters. Willow is Daisy's best friend. And she says, I love that it's on my birthday. Happiness reigns today.
Yes.
And it is. Like, she had that sadder moment, but she was also really happy for Rose. And then she had cake, and she, like, her theory about cake always makes everything better.
Cake fixes everything.
And now she got to witness this really special moment for Willow. Happiness does reign today.
It does. February 20th. A happy day.
A happy birthday for Daisy. It's so cute. And then it just ends with Reich and Daisy having a cute little moment.
Happy birthday, Callaway.
They're so cute.
All right. Yeah. So we are going to wrap up part 4 here. So we will pick back up with part 5.
But now I think we're finally like halfway.
We know what's happening in part 5. I'm sure we'll blaze through quite a bit of that. But until next time, continue to stay addicted to Krista and Becca's writing like us.